All right. So, real quick, smile, relax, be calm, confident, be natural, do not be brief, speak on. The speaker will tell you, the examiner, will stop you. Sometimes the examiner does this. It means continue. It's not a good sign. It means you stop too short and too soon. So, if you have like 1 minute to try to say all you want to say, the most important things first. So when the time is over or the examiner stops you, you're happy with your answer already. We talked about chatting with the examiner, listening to the questions, asking for repetition. Could you please repeat the question, or could you please rephrase? Don't beat around the bush, directly answer the question. Be clear, neither fast nor too slow, neither loud nor very quiet. Okay? So I would ask Sari to speak louder.
Yes.
And if you have lots of pauses, no. Be confident, have a confident tone, louder, but don't shout. The speech should be quite standard. Not like not very slow, of course. Think aloud. What is think aloud? What does that mean? Someone asked me, what does think aloud mean? What is it? When you think aloud, what do you do? So when I ask you a question, I say, okay, have you ever had a bike? So in your mind you're thinking, right? You're thinking about the answer. Instead of thinking in your mind and pausing and looking at him like a toad like this,
No.
instead of that, talk. Let him hear what you're thinking. Oh, I think it's kind of hard to remember, but I'm trying to remember what happened. Actually, it's kind of tough because now I don't remember when I was a child. Oh, now I'm remembering something. Well, yeah. So, you see? Sometimes you use fillers naturally. Not like, no. Like, not like that. But you need, sometimes use, naturally and stuff. And I think, things that help you buy some time for yourself and at the same time think. So naturally, native speakers, when they're asked a question that's a little challenging, or it's kind of hard for them to respond to, or they're thinking, sometimes they ask you a question, you think about the question before you answer. We naturally use some of these fillers when we speak. Oh, let me see. It's kind of hard to answer, but let me see. It's kind of hard to remember. It was a long time ago. So you see, as you say these things, you're thinking. So you're thinking aloud. So do this. It's a good technique. Don't get stuck. Move on. Sometimes when we speak, especially as language learners, we don't remember that word. And that's too bad because some people have this bad habit of just getting stuck there. Oh, what was that word? What was that word? Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. Don't do that. Think of another word. Just go on. Move on. Think of something else. You don't know sweeping or whatever, use cleaning. You don't know cleaning, say something else. Cleaning doesn't come to your mind, say something else. Sometimes when we don't remember a word, we get stuck. We want that word. Don't want that word. Move on. Yeah? It's like life. You see that boy or you see that girl, you want that boy so bad, and I want that one. It'll never come around. Just move on. Another guy. Words are like that. So, sometimes, especially like when you're in classes, you have English teachers and stuff. What do? When you talk to an English teacher, sometimes you have this thing in your mind that, like, do you agree with me? Am I right? That's not the kind of expression you want to have on the testing. The examiner is an examiner. He's not your teacher or friend. He's not there to, do you think I'm right? Like that? You're not asking for confirmation for your answers from the examiner. Remember that. Did you get it? Is it clear? So, easy does it? if hard is too hard. What does that mean? Sometimes, okay, is it good to use different words and different grammatical points? Complex sentences and change your sentences upside down and put this here and put it there and show what a perfect speaker you are. Of course it's good. But usually students get trapped in these complex verbal gymnastics and trying to maneuver. So if you think you're going to have trouble using a word or an expression or an idiom or grammatical structure, use an easier one. Use a more familiar one. Is it good to memorize certain things? Yes, if you don't get caught, but you usually get caught. So being natural is important. If you just memorize something and the person thinks like, oh, you have just memorized a few things and you're saying things like a recording, like a tape, you don't sound natural. It's not really that good. So you got to sound natural as well. So it's better, both in writing and in speaking, which are both productive, and you control the language. In writing and speaking, it's better to use more familiar words and expressions when you're sure that you can do a better job using that word or expression than using that word and expression and making a mistake and getting trapped. Do you think that makes sense? Yes? Because if you use a simpler word, the guy is not going to give you a penalty or penalize you. Of course, using higher levels of vocabulary would show your expertise with words, but it's worse to use a bigger word in a wrong way than simply using simple words in the right way, the correct way. Don't overcorrect yourself. Sometimes when we speak naturally, we correct ourselves. We say something, even native speakers. You say something, oh, you correct yourself. Some people correct themselves like 4 times. He go, no. He go, no. He don't. If you get it like once, no, twice, it's okay. If you don't get it like a second time, just let go. Let go. Move on with confidence. If you want to correct yourself, a good way of saying it is like rather he goes, or rather is like more very formal. So he goes. Sorry, he goes. You said like one sorry, he goes. But now, when move on. These things sound very obvious, but some people don't follow the obvious. So, mind your pronunciation, of course. Pronunciation is very important. That's why we're working on it. Especially if your pronunciation somehow is an impediment to his understanding of what you're saying. If it tampers with his understanding, if he doesn't understand you, or she doesn't understand you, then pronunciation is very important. As long as your pronunciation is clear, you don't have to sound like a Canadian or an American or a British person, but as long as you're quite clear, that does it. More important than pronunciation, perhaps, which is more manageable, is your intonation. If you're asking a question, you have to ask a question. If you sound like you're happy, you should sound like you're happy. If you remember memory, there's ups and downs. Remember, don't be flat. Your intonation is important. The words you have to stress in the sentence, sometimes you're excited. For example, someone asks you about your childhood. Oh my God, yeah, I remember my childhood was great. And I remember all those beautiful memories, all those great. One of the questions was about a present. Of course, when we're talking about presents, I don't speak about presents like, presents is like, no. Oh man, of course, like last time I gave someone a present was just a few months ago with my brother. And you know what? He loves, without overdoing it, don't overdo it, but naturally when you're talking about a present, you're not talking about somebody's death, right? You're talking about a present. So, support your answers. After the first answer, of course from the beginning, but then the second part of the test, when you have to say why. Who's your best friend? Why? What is your favorite restaurant? Why? And why you like to go there, and so when you analyze, you have to support what you're saying and try to be logical in your support and try to support what you say as well as you can. And don't repeat yourself. Of course, don't repeat yourself. Sometimes we say something and we keep repeating the same thing. Here, two sentences down, we say the same thing. Don't repeat yourself. A word or something like too much and too often. Don't. And of course, vary your grammar and vocabulary. Well, if you can use various words and grammatical structures, it's much better. In the second part, where the examiner gives you a card and gives you 1 minute, use that time and practice that for yourself. Practice that at home. Sit down and practice taking notes. Here's the topic. What notes am I taking? You don't have much time. You have only 1 minute. So what do? You put down some keywords, and then you don't use the entire 1 minute for just writing words. Because if you do that, for example, who's your best friend and why? And some questions. Like 3 questions. Remember, when you listen carefully to the speaker, it was who, why, and something else. So you need that who, you need the why, you need those 3 things. Or if you're given the card, you need to underline. You need to address every single question. 3 questions, 3 answers. Now the point is, when you answer, well, you have to be direct and to the point. But you have to practice doing this at home. But when you finish, imagine you spend like 30, 40 seconds on putting keywords, but you need 20 seconds for a story. You need a storyline. You need to look at this, because if you some people just write notes, and when they look at their notes, and there's so many notes, and yeah, my best friend, he is nice, and here, no. Try to write in order, try to learn how to write notes about topics, and spend enough time to make a story in your mind. I want to tell a story now. 2 minutes, I have around 2 minutes to tell a story. So I'm starting from A to Z. In your mind, very fast, you need to come up with a story. And that's about it. Good luck.